Hi everyone, this is Mervin Matthew from Sound Canva. Welcome to this new episode of Chord Anatomy. Today we are going to discuss about two of the most unique triads. Most probably when you think about triads or when you read about triads in different medias, you won't find these two chords because it's not that popular among the pop musicians or even singer-songwriters and guys like that. But in case of modern classical music or even jazz music or even modal music, you hear a lot of these kind of dissonant kind of chords. The two chords which we are going to discuss today is Phrygian triad and the Lydian triad. Most probably the terms Phrygian and Lydian, you must have heard it somewhere. If you haven't heard it before, there is no issue. Right now, you just understand that there are two terms called the Phrygian and the Lydian. It is actually associated with the modes of a major scale. So, if you take the C major scale, Phrygian scale is the third mode of major scale. So, you start from the third note. When you think about it in terms of Indian music, you'll find out that this scale has a close resemblance to the Hanumatodi raga or the notes of the Hanumatodi raga. As such, the raga is different from this particular scale, but still the notes are almost the same. So when you play it like this, you'll notice one thing: the first note and the second note has got only a semitone distance, or you can say that there is a minor second interval being used in this particular Phrygian scale. The starting root note and the second note has a minor second interval between that. So that actually creates some sort of tension or some sort of dissonance into this scale, and that makes it pretty much unique. So that idea is being taken and it is being considered as a chord like the Phrygian triad. So you will have the root note, fifth note, and a minor second. So I'll just play it. If you take C as a tonic, you'll get the G as the fifth. And when you play the C sharp along with it, you get a very dissonant, much more tense kind of feeling associated with it. So that is the feel of the Phrygian triad. So this chord has three notes: root, minor second, and the perfect fifth. So when you hear it, you'll understand that it has a strong tendency to resolve to a much stabler kind of chord. So most probably the minor second will have a tendency to resolve onto the root note itself. So the resolution most probably happens like this. After playing this Phrygian triad, you'll have to play some chords which are much more resolved or much more stable. So mostly you can play the minor triad or even the major triad after this. In case of film music, these particular intervals, if you have any doubts about intervals, I have done a video about that. And in my playlist, it is the first video. Please do check it out. I have discussed about all the intervals in that video. Please. So in film music, if you really wanted to bring in all these tension elements in terms of thriller movies or even horror movies or something like that, then you can use these Phrygian triads with minor second intervals pretty effectively. Right now, when you play it within an octave, you feel like it has a much more clustered dissonant kind of sound like this. But if you can expand it to multiple octaves, you'll get a much less kind of dissonance. The next triad which we'll discuss today is the Lydian triad. It is almost similar to the Phrygian triad. You have the root and fifth. In Phrygian triad, you had this minor second interval from the root. But in case of Lydian triad, you had it with the fourth and the fifth note. So you have this augmented fourth and the fifth. So in terms of the tension or the instability which this chord produces, it is almost similar to the Phrygian triad. So you have this root, augmented fourth and fifth. You must have heard this term Lydian a lot of times. It is the fourth mode of the major scale. So if you can take the C major scale And if you start playing this particular scale from F to F, which is the fourth note or even the perfect fourth from C. So this is the fourth mode of the major scale, or it is called as the Lydian mode. When you think about it in terms of Indian music, you have similar kind of scales in Indian music, especially in Carnatic music. It is similar to the Kalyani raga or even the notes of this raga. In Hindustani music, you can relate it to the Yemen raga. So how will you use this Lydian triad? Similarly to the Phrygian triad, this Lydian triad is also really unstable. So it also has this tendency to resolve to a much more stable kind of chord. So usually this augmented fourth will tend towards moving to the fifth note. So most probably if you play a major triad or a minor triad after this Lydian triad, it will perfectly get resolved. So this is how it actually works. In case of Phrygian also you'll get a similar kind of resolution. So if you can sing it like this. All the inversions you can explore, all the voicings you can explore. Even if you can arrange it in different octaves for different instruments, it also sounds really different. Rather playing it in one octave as a clustered form, you can just open it up by distributing the notes onto the different octaves. So the exercise which you can do with the chords which we have already discussed before is something like this. Sa ga pa sa re pa sa ma pa sa re pa sa ma pa sa ga pa sa ga sa ga pa sa ga pa ga sa ri pa sa ri sa pa ri sa ma pa sa ma pa ma sa ri pa sa ri sa pa ri sa ma pa sa ma pa ma sa. If you can sing it on a daily basis, all these notes get registered in your mind, and then your musical understanding and even your awareness becomes much more sharp and much more effective. So please try to practice it in the most effective way. Bye.